Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Informed in 5. Today's guest is the owner and founder of Go-To Specialty Therapy, Glenda Hux. She is an occupational therapist with over 20 years of experience and a doctoral candidate at Boston University, focused on researching neurological pathways and their impacts on physiology, learning, and emotions. Today, she'll be sharing information about Go-To Specialty Therapy, as well as her unique style of therapy that revolves around neuroplasticity. Thank you so much for joining me today, Glenda.
Thank you for having me and thank you for asking me. I have been a long time supporter of MSPTI, so thank you so much. Yes, I'm the owner of Go-To Specialty Therapy. It was founded in 2017 after 12 years of noticing and experiencing the need for specialized OT services in rural areas. Traveling 60 to 90 miles for specialized service was pretty much the norm when I started this. I'm an occupational therapist, like you mentioned, with 20 years of experience. My training is really finding the underlying neurological conditions that is impacting a client's performance, and it's any kind of performance. So my training has been on advanced practice of neuroplasticity, which means the ability of our brain to adapt in response to our environment. We all know that it changes, and I wanted to know how to harness that to help my clients. So that began really a lot. That brought me here. That brought me to opening Go-To Specialty Therapy's doors. First as a consulting practice, and then a brick and mortar space in 2018. Services that I offer include evaluation and treatment, and often consultation. Sometimes because I'm in this process, offering these services to help parents, a lot of times I do a free consultation up to, especially if I have to refer them to someone else, and that they don't need to see me. Anything over 20 minutes, or under 20 minutes, it's usually free. I don't mind doing that. Go-To Specialty Therapy's doors are open to help parents find their way through the vast amount of information that's out there that is overwhelming. It was overwhelming for me in my journey, and I want to be able to sift through that and synthesize it all so that they can find the services that they need and hopefully decrease their overwhelm. I also am available to evaluate or treat or consult with anyone throughout the entire state. People that can benefit from my services. My service is a pediatric practice, is how I narrowed it down when I opened my doors. So parents and families is really who I am serving. It evolved from my passion with early on in my career, understanding how caregivers of adults with dementia had a hard time understanding what was going on with the families. And early on, after that, it became a personal journey for me because my daughter was born with a rare neurological processing condition. So I learned as much as I could. And I always tell myself, if I'm having such a hard time finding services, and if I'm having such a hard time sifting through this information, how much, and I'm a rehab professional, how much more trouble are other parents having? So it was a dream of mine for a very long time, knowing that it was a need. It was a burden in my heart, and I'm just happy to be in service now. Honestly, the way that I explain what I do, it's more of what we see a lot of times is emotion, or we see behavior, or we see that a child is having trouble learning. But there are so many layers under that, and my job is to look under all of those layers because it really comes down to neurological processing in the end. For me, and with my specialized lenses, that's how I see it, and helping the parent understand where that is. And I get a lot of consults because children are experiencing, let's say, a language delay. And a lot of times it might not be, that a lot of times they're concerned about autism. So we have those kind of conversations. Should you seek treatment? Should you seek evaluation? How early on do you see these things? Is it time to start speech therapy? People always want to wait, always feel like, oh, maybe I'm just jumping the gun, and it's not time to start with speech therapy. Um, all of those, we have those kind of conversations so that the family can come up with an informed decision of how to proceed. I, I don't, any of my consultations, unless you agree to an evaluation, any of my consultations are they can be one time. I don't mind if you leave with the information that you need, to go out the door and find who can help you. I make some of those phone calls sometimes, and I offer, because I'm in this, I try to find people that align with that same mission and also with that high level of expertise. So, I don't mind helping through that. That's really, why I do it.
Tell me a little bit about your experience with neuroplasticity and researching creating new neurological pathways and how that plays into the style of therapy that you offer.
Yes, for me, neuroplasticity is like I said, harnessing it is the hope that we all have, that we're not um, limited to our current circumstances. Because we have that, I can design their, activities, or I can teach the parent how to carry out a certain activity every time that a certain behavior happens. And we eventually, get to that, because neuroplasticity happens through repetition. We eventually get to where we make a new synaptic connection, and we are making a new pattern. So it's always a partnership. The parent is always, I have parents that come to me and say, like, you do it. And then there are parents that say, I can't come in that often. Can you please help me with a program, that some things that I can do at home? And I'm happy to oblige, because I always tell my clients, I can't move in with you. I've always said that for 20 years. I can't move in with you, but I can show you how to make life a learning opportunity for this child's nervous system.
Are there any other specialized skills that you bring to go to specialty therapy other than the neurological aspect?
Well, I think everything goes back down to how we process, because through our nervous system processes our interaction with the environment. So if it's emotions, we're reacting from the environment. If it's learning, we're reacting to information that's given to us through our senses. If it's in my view, it always comes back, to um, to the nervous system. But I also offer. Pretty soon, I will be offering uh, um, services for parents. So the same way that I noticed that the parent needs to be a very um, just a primary part of the team, I also want them to be at a level where they can assimilate the information that I'm giving, that they don't feel that they're overwhelmed, that they feel like they're empowered to do it, beyond just me educating them about what needs to be done. So pretty soon, once I have been developing a program to work with parents and children, and especially that capacity, because wouldn't it be great to have um, to know as a parent that, oh, they're telling me to use these things for my child, and those things can help me, and this is how they can help me, and this is how we can incorporate it into life, as we go, and we can grow together. Oh, and the family, oh, and the sibling may also benefit from this. So because all I see is a nervous system, and our nervous system to me is the one thing that embodies, honestly, to me, in my view, who we are and who we want to be, and neuroplasticity can help us get there.
That's wonderful. I love how you're taking an approach to the whole family dynamic because, well, with that experience, when you have a child with a disability and special needs, you understand that it affects the entire family, the parent, caregiver, and the siblings as well. So I think that's wonderful, the approach that you're taking and offering that service to the whole family. So that's wonderful. I love hearing that. tell me some information about how people can reach you. Do you offer any virtual consultation for someone that might not be in the area that you're located?
No, I am licensed to treat anyone in the full state of Mississippi. I have found that I have done different types of contracts in areas throughout the state, and I understand to what extent rural areas really need that, the expertise. So that prompted me to offer it not just in my rural area. It was sort of like a 70, 90-mile triangle where there were no services to um, be able to do it online, of course, secure portal and everything online throughout the state. What I need is, thank you for that opportunity, is getting the word out. I don't mind, if I do a consultation, I don't develop a treatment plan, but if it's an evaluation, I develop a treatment plan, and we move on through what, now and the pandemic has been, telehealth, which is what a lot of people do. Many people have trouble thinking that telehealth, for parents particularly, they feel like that might be overwhelmed or not, overwhelming or not effective. But that has not been my experience, because I feel like, just like I sit on this side of the screen, I've sat on the other side of the screen. So being able to narrow down the information to where the parent's not overwhelmed is also part of my expertise, because I know how the nervous system works.
What sort of insurance do you accept with your clinic?
Yes, I started because I believe that my scope of practice was broader than um, many. I mean, maybe many insurance, payers were willing to cover. I started as a private pay services, but in my expansion, I will be taking any private insurance. I get a lot of children with dyslexia. Unfortunately, I don't get them until they're 10 years old, and they have tried everything, and many things have not worked because there are underlying conditions in the nervous system that have gone untreated. So I feel like that's one of my specialties. That's why people come to me, to be able to say, oh, that's visual, or no, or that's visual processing, or that's visual motor, or that's precision, or that is fine motor, or there's so many layers to what is going on, particularly with dyslexia, with that learning disability. That is, I don't offer dyslexia therapy treatments. I find people in my area that are very specialized in that, and like I said, that aligned with my mission and vision. But I help sort of peel the layers of what's going on with that child, so that child, and I love seeing how at 10 everybody feels so discouraged because they know they're in that threshold, and then they leave here with hope, because that child is not feeling so overwhelmed with learning, is not hating what they're doing anymore, um, because we actually looked beneath all the layers.
What would you say to a parent that has an instinct that maybe their child isn't developing quite like their peers, and they are kind of in a situation where they don't really know where to turn? What advice would you give that parent who is just kind of starting out in this journey?
Yes, great question. To me, I say trust your instinct. uh, give me a call because I have been there, and I don't have to I don't have to be the one that provides your service, but I can send you the right way at no charge. um, Trust your instinct, number one, and number two, you're never too early to start intervention. That's my philosophy, because the brain is plastic. Plastic just means it's flexible, and it can grow new connections at the same time that is getting rid of some connections. And so the early that we intervene, it's the better. And also find a pediatrician that listens.
From your experience, what are some good resources that you have found that you have shared with your families?
I can tell you about some of my partnerships. University of Southern Mississippi, Child's Development Center, um, TK Martin, and of course, MSPTI. I always, send people through those avenues because a lot of times they're concerned about how do I access services. I mean, they still are when they come to my office. Because I do a lot of business with Boston. I have like Boston Children's or at times Cincinnati Children's. I have uh, business relationships there. And if something's really highly specialized and um, they're having trouble getting in, we know specialties are hard to get in Mississippi. They're hard to access, and in the medical field, um, I, I have no trouble with, making some of those connections for them. I want everyone to have the access that is not limited to their near environment.
What would you say to a parent that feels discouraged with where their child may be currently? What would you say to that parent to give them hope and to let them know that this isn't the end of the road and that there is hope?
I would say it's not the end of the road. I would say neuroplasticity, it happens even in adults. They used to think really not long ago that it only happened up to age 8, or that it didn't happen, that it only happened in critical periods of, infancy and childhood development. But it happens it happens all along the lifespan. So it's never the end of the road. Um, Find someone who believes in that, and find someone that understands that your child is capable of achieving things that you never dreamed of.
Can you give me a little bit of information about how people can contact you for any questions they may have or additional information about Go To Specialty Therapy?
Yes, my email would probably be the best way to find me. And it is GOTOSP, as in the first 2 letters of specialty, TX as in therapy. So it's go to SPTX at go, the number 2, OT as in occupational therapy.com. And of course, I have a Facebook page, Go To Specialty Therapy, and on Instagram also at the number 2 OT.
Wonderful. And I will also include all of your contact information in the body of this post. So if anyone has any questions or would like to reach you, you can find all of the links and numbers and emails there. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today and sharing all of this wonderful information about what you're doing with families and all over the state. And I just want to thank you for your research and your passion. And it really comes through. So I really hope people can take a lot from this. And if you are a parent out there and you do have questions and concerns and you feel like you don't know where to turn, Glenda is here for you. So reach out to her. And that's, taking that first step is always hard, but it's necessary. And once you take that first step, you're on your way to, to helping your child succeed at life. And that's all we really want, is to help our children succeed. So thank you so much, Glenda.
Thank you. Thank you so much.